What's going on, guys? We're back on the 1959 F250 build. A few episodes ago you saw us get the floors fixed, get it kind of running and driving way better than it was when we first got it running and driving. We got some brakes, we got our fuel system hooked up much better. And in the last episode you saw Max Speeding Rod sent us a turbo, and we're going to put a turbo on this motor. So we got the turbo mocked up. So now in this episode we're going to finish the turbo setup and drive it for the first time under boost. So you guys will have to see what happens next. So if you look over here, the carburetor has a choke on it, and our choke is broken on this. And if we're gonna make any boost, the air pressure from the turbo is gonna immediately shut this choke, and we're not gonna get any air to our engine. On many blow-through carburetors, they don't have any chokes. So we're gonna have to remove this choke. That way it won't force shut whenever we make some boost. And then we're gonna have to do a little bit more modifications to the carburetor to be able to get it boost ready. So I'm gonna take this choke blade off, and then we'll show you what we're gonna do next. Take these two little nuts out of your carburetor and then slide this out of the way, and boom, now you don't have anything to worry about whenever you make some boost. So you can slide this rod out now that that's out, and wide open for boost. So now we're going to finish the rest of the turbo kit. That way, whenever we make some boost, it's not gonna just be for nothing. We have this 4-barrel Amazon turbo carburetor hat, and it, just so you're wondering, if you guys want to, I know there's a bunch of 6-cylinder guys out there that put turbos and stuff. This fits perfect on the 2-barrel. Got that on there, and we got our monstrosity of piping. So we're going from, I believe this is 3.5 to 4, I think. So this is gonna go on this end.
This looks like some kind of Frankenstein.
I know. And then this is gonna flip around. So kind of get the look we're going for now. Turbo intake, put a nut on it. All we gotta do is run oil lines, finish our exhaust, and it'll be done. All right, cool. So now we got this on. Gotta run some oil lines and finish the exhaust. Got a cap for the bottom side of the exhaust. So I just sliced the exhaust. I'm gonna slide this over. That way our exhaust kit for our turbo is completely done. So it'll feed up to our turbo instead of back out the exhaust. All right, so for our oil drain, we didn't really want to drill a hole into this oil pan. So this is the vent tube, which leads into the engine. So we were going to just tap into that, and then for our oil drain for our turbo, we're going to have the line from the turbo feeding into this. Probably not the best way to do it, but for what this is, it's going to work out. So definitely always drain into the oil pan or into the timing cover, but for this, we're doing it this way. All right, so we have 3 different radiators here. This one, as you saw in the video where we drove it, leaks really bad and it started to overheat, so we shut it down. We got this one from a buddy of mine, Dan. Shout out to you. He's building a 60 F100 on a Crown Vic frame, but I thought it was going to work, but I didn't realize that the bottom radiator hose was on a different side than this one, so it wasn't going to work. Luckily, if you guys remember the David Patterson video with the 65 F100 with a Cummins diesel in it, I have the radiator out of that truck, and that one has the correct size, so that one looks like it's going to fit. You can see it definitely was leaking at some point, but it leaked a lot less than that one did. So we're just going to throw that in for now, and hopefully that one will do a little bit better job of cooling it than that one did.
Perfect.
Good enough. It definitely doesn't, it's too wide, doesn't fit in there, but it clears the fan, so we're gonna have to tie it down some, but it should work for what we're gonna do. That does fit really good down there.
Oh yeah, it's like factory.
Nice. It actually worked out really good because the radiator has the upper radiator hoses on this side instead of on that side. So it clears our turbo perfectly. We are going to snug this thing down with these fancy hose clamps and throw some coolant in it.
It sounds cool.
All right, so we got our oil lines ran here. I tried to redo this one. It was kind of kinking at the angle that it was, so I just made a line going to our oil pressure sending unit. And the only thing left that I have to do now is weld up the exhaust. So I have this piece of exhaust lying around and some V-bands. So I'm gonna tack that V-band on and then going to tack this V-band on the turbo here. And see how I can get that to fit. Probably gonna have to pull the hood off, but this is just a temporary setup so I can get it running and driving. We had this piece of exhaust laying around, so you saw me weld the end of this up, and then I welded a little V-band on the end of that exhaust housing on the turbo. Now we're gonna put our temporary exhaust up, but it ends up looking pretty cool, so we'll fit this thing up now. Yep. Yeah. So stupid, it's so long.
The Brahma Bull.
Yeah, it looks way longer.
Our exhaust fell off. So we're doing a rush weld so you guys can see it's still in the daylight.
So last thing you saw us do was we got the oil feed and oil drain for the turbo set up. I capped the exhaust for the turbo piping to wrap around. We put this radiator in, got the radiator filled with water, so that way we keep our engine cool. Got the turbo kit on the exhaust side pretty much done, and then we just happened to have this 3.5, 4-inch piece of exhaust tubing from another project, so we tacked it on here real quick just to make it function as an exhaust, and then we had to pull our hood off obviously because it's so big. So this is a very temporary setup, but just so we can show you guys it running and driving, we have it like this. We have everything tightened down. I had to redo the oil feed line just because that other line kinked and I didn't really like the way it was run. So we have a much longer line in it now. Tuned the carburetor up a little bit. Put a little bit more fuel in it, added some timing just because we're going to run it on boost. It still doesn't run very well, but we're going to see what it does. So now hopefully we can drive it for the first time. Alright guys, I don't really know what happened. It was running really good before in the shop. We got it tuned up pretty good. But it's just getting dark on us again and we're kind of running out of time. So we're going to call it on this one, and in the next video you'll probably see us getting this thing tuned up and getting it ready to run under boost. Make sure you go to maxheatingrods.com so you can use the promo code RUSTOMOD and get 10% off one of these turbos for one of your cars that you're building. And make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe so you can see what we're going to do once this turbo setup is done and what engine platform we're going to go with the F250 after this whole thing's complete. So we'll see you on the next one.